Most of us are taught how to win arguments, but not how to hear hearts. Conflict isn't the enemy, it's the doorway. Behind every harsh word, every defensive tone, every you never or you always, there's usually a trembling need, something alive in us asking to be seen. Hi there, welcome. My name is Maeve. Whether you've been with me before or you're just arriving, my goal is to improve your relationships, live a more lucid life, and gain more self-awareness. Today, we will discuss resolving conflict. Let's start with an example. Imagine you open up to your partner and say, I've been feeling a little distant from you lately. I miss how we used to be. And they respond, I can't be bothered with this right now. You know how I am. Stop being so sensitive. Instantly, it stings. You might interpret that as rejection, that your need for closeness doesn't matter. And the old story starts to whisper, I'm too much, I'm not wanted. But if we slow it down, if we practice the lens of nonviolent communication, we can start to see that their avoidance isn't always indifference. It might be a need for autonomy or ease or even self-regulation. And underneath your longing for reassurance is a need for consistency, safety, and to know that you matter. When we both remember that needs aren't in opposition, the war softens. You might respond gently, are you needing a little more space and freedom right now? Because I'm needing a little more reassurance that we're okay. Now, both needs are named ease and closeness. Instead of tug of war, we're connecting to truth. Sometimes hidden beneath every messy argument is what David Brooks calls a gem statement, a sentence that reveals the shared heartbeat beneath our disagreement. Maybe you're fighting about parenting styles, money, or how to spend time. You pause, breathe, and realize, oh, we both just want what's best for the child, or we both want to feel secure in the relationship. We just express it differently. The gem statement can dissolve walls in seconds. When you name the mutual intention, we're both arguing so passionately because we care so deeply, you remind each other that love and connection, not opposition, is the real motive here. And we can also name the core disagreement under the disagreement. Like maybe one person grew up in a busy city and one person grew up in the country and have different core values about gun laws. Maybe one person wants to feel safe through planning and the other wants to feel alive through spontaneity. Whatever it is, you move from fighting about the surface level issue to understanding the nervous system beneath it. When we can explore the differing values beneath just the current practical argument, we, instead of just repeating ourselves over and over, trying to get the other person to agree, we're pulling stories out of each other about why we believe what we do. And as I've said before, being curious about another person's experience is way more important than being right. This is where reconciliation becomes possible. Another example would be, let's say two people are arguing about whether or not to spank children. At the deepest core, they do both want the best for the child, but one person might have been raised super religious, obviously, and another person might want to explore more compassionate ways to discipline or create value in the child. But once you can understand that, you can understand each other better by discovering the core value disagreement. And sometimes when people go to that depth of why they believe something, they might actually start to question themselves like, oh yeah, that's just the way it always was in my family. We always got spanked. They always got spanked. But maybe there is a different way to navigate conflicts with children. And so that could be beneficial. And then you might actually both come to a mutual agreement about it. Of course, it's not always easy to hear someone's needs when ours feel unmet. Pain narrows our perception. When you're craving reassurance but your partner pulls away, your body interprets that as abandonment. And when they feel pressured, they interpret your longing as control. Neither is wrong, they're just both in pain. So sometimes empathy begins with honesty, like, I want to understand you, but I notice my heart is too tight to really hear you right now. Can we pause for a minute so I can come back to love? Pausing is always sacred. It's where humility lives, and it's how we protect the connection from collapsing under our emotion. When we're ready to reconnect, we shift to requests. Once both parties have connected with each other's needs, the next step is to arrive at strategies to meet them. However, it's important not to move too quickly into strategies which can result in compromises that lack the deep quality of authentic resolution that is possible. The goal of nonviolent communication isn't to decide who gives in, it's to find a way of life together that meets everyone's needs, where both hearts feel open and respected and seen. Let's say you and your partner just reconnected after the tension around emotional closeness. You've both identified your needs, you need reassurance, and they need autonomy and a sense of freedom. If you move too fast, you might land in a surface solution like, fine, I'll just give you more space, or okay, I'll try to be more affectionate. On the surface, it may seem cooperative, but it can feel empty, like the deeper needs haven't truly been met. That kind of compromise can leave both people feeling disconnected, even if it looks peaceful. Instead of rushing to fix it, stay with the pulse of the needs. You might say, would you be willing to sit with me for a few minutes just to feel close again? And your partner might say, would you be willing to let me take a quiet walk alone first so I can come back to you more grounded? Those are living strategies rooted in presence, born from empathy, not obligation. They honor both freedom and closeness at once. Another thing that blocks connection is how often we reference the past or future when making requests. We say things like, can you please stop doing that thing you always do? Or can you just try to be more affectionate next time? Both are understandable, but they pull us out of the present moment where healing actually happens. The nervous system can't connect through memory or prediction, only through presence. So instead, try grounding it in the here and now. Would you be willing to put your hand on my back while we talk right now? Or can we plan a quiet night in together this weekend and decide it tonight? Even when the request involves the future, like planning a date, it's framed as a present action. The asking itself happens now with energy and choice alive in the moment. When we speak in present, positive action language, we move from analyzing the past or controlling the future into the small, sacred moment where transformation actually breathes. That's where empathy becomes real, not in the agreement, but in the moment where two people meet in the shared intention. And sometimes it's just too tangled to do alone, and that's where mediation can help. Someone neutral who can come in and hold both people's needs with tenderness until the understanding grows. I've actually been curious to explore mediation myself to see if I could practice helping people reach resolve in their conflict, but I haven't really had the opportunity to practice yet. If you would like to schedule a call with me, you can find an email link in the description on my website. The idea of creating a space where no one has to be wrong would be fulfilling for me. Conflict isn't proof of incompatibility. It's the sound of two needs knocking against each other, asking to be held instead of defended. So the next time the conversation turns tense, listen for the gem, that shared spark of care. Find the mutual intention, the place where both hearts mean well, and dare to translate the argument beneath the argument, because that's where love is quietly waiting to be found again. I recognize a lot of what I share might sound difficult to apply. A lot of it still is for me, to be honest, but I am committed to keep learning and growing and at least pondering what might be possible in terms of relating and empathizing in harmony, even when life is messy and none of us are perfect. If this resonated with you, you might love my other videos on empathy, communication, and just relating in general. So subscribe if you want to keep learning how to turn conflict into connection, one honest breath at a time. Bless you. So the topics I've discussed today come from this book by Marshall Rosenberg. I highly recommend that you grab yourself a copy. It was one of the most life-changing books I ever read, and I think the world would be a better place if everyone could read it. You can grab yourself a copy using my affiliate link below, and I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being here.